Wimbledon quite recently. How impressive was he that day?
Well, I was very impressed. I mean, going on to a grass court, I thought I had a very good chance to do well, but I think he's proven now that he can play on every surface. Made quarterfinals of the French Open, quarterfinals of Wimbledon. Now he's in the fourth round of the US Open, so he's a great contender.
Okay, and of course we are hoping to show Gustavo Kuerten just a little later this afternoon at around about 4 o'clock. I have to tell you that the weather in New York at the moment isn't terribly encouraging. We were saying before the start of the show today that we should change the dates of Wimbledon and the US Open. Of course, we could have had a wonderful grass court tournament in Southwest 19 over the last 10 days or so. That's just the luck of the draw, I suppose, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the way it goes. It'd be nice to have had Wimbledon this week, wouldn't it? Because it's been so nice, but that's just like you can't determine on the weather.
We'll do a little rain dance and make sure the clouds lift in time for live action at 4 o'clock. Now, yesterday, off-court, there was a little bit of news involving Jana Novotná. This is what she told a hastily arranged press conference.
Yes, actually, I'm here to tell you, yeah, I guess you have all recently heard that there have been some speculation about me maybe not playing next year, and I just would like to clarify everything, that it is true. I have decided to finish this year, fulfill my obligations for this fall, and then not to play anymore next year. Well, I think I have been thinking about the decision for a very long time, and I just felt that the timing for it is right. And usually here at the US Open I have to do my commitments and designations for next year, so I felt that the time is right to make this statement. Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think that's very hard to say it's one thing or another, but as I said, I've been thinking about this for a very long time, and it's really difficult to point out one thing, why am I retiring or why I won't be playing anymore next year, but I just feel that the time for it is right, and again, I'm very happy with the decision that I have made, and I'm looking forward to my future. I think winning Wimbledon last year and having such a wonderful year that I had just made everything much easier. Let's put it this way. I mean, definitely I always said throughout my career that winning one Grand Slam tournament would be very fulfilling, and it would be a dream to come true for me, and it did finally happen. And as I said, I can just look back and be very happy and very thankful for the career that I had.
Well, I'm sure we'll all remember forever her success at Wimbledon last year. She's 29 now. She was beaten quite comprehensively in the third round at this year's US Open by Anke Huber. Chris, do you think she's timed her decision perfectly?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you retire, it's difficult to know when time is right, but only Jana Novotná can determine when that time is right, and it happens to be now. She had a good career. She made #2 in the world and won Wimbledon, so she's retiring on a very high note. She made #2. She won Wimbledon, as you said, but really she should have achieved a lot more, shouldn't she? Yeah, quite possibly. I actually quite enjoyed watching her play. She had a good serve volley game, came to net a lot, and actually was quite exciting to watch. So I think she was good for the women's game, and maybe she did underachieve and could have maybe gone on to some better Grand Slams, but I think she was very good. And presumably she will stay involved in tennis at some level with the sort of enthusiasm that she's shown on the court. Presumably she could make a magnificent coach or an ambassador for the game, at least, off it. Yeah, she would. She's got a lot of experience, been to all the tournaments, made, you know, the finals of big tournaments, so if she gets involved possibly with the Czech Federation, she can obviously help the youngsters come through. OK, Chris, thank you very much for the moment. Let us now show you some tennis, starting with the overnight match between the 12th seed from Holland, Richard Krajicek, and the American Vince Spadea. We're going to join it at the start. The commentators are Wally Masur and Chris Bailey.
Please turn on the lights.
Spadea to start the last of the fourth round matches of the bottom draw. Bottom half of the draw.
And that's Richard Krajicek in a nutshell. Just get to the net as quickly as possible and then try to pass that 6'5" frame. He's got great technique on the volleys. He moves very well at the net. He's got a Wimbledon title under his belt, and that's why. If Vince has a weakness, it's probably his mobility. He's not the quickest guy around, but sometimes it's hard to exploit that mobility because he dictates the play. It's very strong off the ground, and it's hard to get that first good shot in against him. You just see there, when he's forced to scramble, Spadea, he's nowhere near the player as when he's set.
Early chance for Krajicek now. Not the sort of start he takes that the Spadea would have wanted. Missed it, and Spadea drops his opening service game in this match, and it's a dangerous thing to do when you're facing somebody who serves like Krajicek.
So an early break for the number 12 seed. The next few games went with serve. We rejoin it with Krajicek 3-2 in front and serving.
Krajicek 3-2 with an early service break in this first set. Serving well so far.
Krajicek, every time he serves a second serve, he faces a very tough volley. He dug that one out well for a big man. Signs could be ominous if he doesn't keep that first serve percentage high. Spadea just shaking his head. He probably expects to win most of the points if Krajicek stays back. That was a good approach, set up the easy volley.
It's a much fitter Richard Krajicek than last year. He was forced to pull out with tendonitis in his left knee, which later on in the year required surgery last year.
Chris, there's no doubt that tennis players are getting bigger. If you look at the average height 10, 15 years ago of the champions, they're all around 5'10". Now the average height's probably 6'1", 6'2". Krajicek 6'5". Todd Martin 6'4". You're a tall guy. You had some trouble with injury. Seems to me tennis players are getting bigger and big guys get injured more often.
I think a lot of it comes down to the actual stress that you're putting on your joints. I think big guys, or especially my knee joints, were very, very flexible. Had a lot of hyperextension in both knees, and I think you get that from just being tall.
I think too the amount of practice you do as a young kid when you're growing 6, 7, 8 inches in a year. You're actually not doing yourself any favours later on in life. You're putting a lot of stress on joints that are just starting to knit. Krajicek, he's had a lot of trouble with his knees over the years. From ever since I can remember him coming onto tour, they've been a problem. Saw Magnus Larsson the other day against Todd Martin retire, citing knee tendonitis. He's about 6'4". Krajicek floats the return, and Spadea, that's just about where he likes it.
See that Krajicek is not going to hang around at the back too much. If Spadea's percentage of first serves is low, it's 48% at the moment, then Krajicek on the second will chip and will use his wingspan to great effect at the net. On the line.
Spadea doing everything right. This is the final pass, but you could see Spadea just pushed that volley down the centre of the court. He really had time to do a bit more with the volley. Good to see him taking advantage of those good ground strokes, though, by coming in.
There's a bit of a brick wall, isn't he, in the forecourt. Spadea didn't really move particularly well to that ball, and the volley was woeful.
There it is, the backhand volley with a forehand grip. Wrist in front of the racket. No strength.
Please.